Sailing around the world after 60 is the adventure of a lifetime, but it requires smart preparation and essential upgrades to your sailboat. In today's video, we're unveiling the 10 mandatory modifications that every sailor over 60 must make to ensure greater safety, comfort, and self-sufficiency at sea. These adaptations can extend your journeys, reduce physical strain, and even prevent dangerous situations in the open ocean. Some of these upgrades are simple, yet incredibly effective. Others could mean the difference between a smooth voyage and a serious problem on board. Imagine setting sail knowing that your boat is fully optimized for your needs, with systems in place to minimize risks and maximize control over your vessel. Throughout this video, we'll dive into why these modifications are so crucial, how to implement them, and what mistakes to avoid. So, get ready. This guide is packed with valuable tips, practical solutions, and expert advice. Stick around until the end and let us know, which of these modifications do you already have on your boat? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss more essential sailing content. Let's dive in. Let's kick this off with number 10. Comfortable sleeping arrangements. Sailing around the world isn't a quick jaunt. It's a marathon across oceans, weeks or months of relentless waves and wind. And for a man over 60, sleep isn't just a break. It's your backbone. Age creeps in with its little gifts. Stiff joints, a cranky back, maybe a hip that groans after a long watch. And a bad bunk turns those niggles into full-blown misery. You need a berth that's a sanctuary, not a punishment. Start with a mattress, marine grade, memory foam or latex 5 inches thick, medium firm to cradle your spine without sinking you like quicksand. Size it right, 3 feet wide, pushing 3.5 if your cabin's got the beam, so you're not pinned against the hull when she heels 25 degrees in a swell. Headroom's non-negotiable, 4.5 feet minimum, 5 if you can swing it, so you can sit up, stretch, or roll out without cracking your skull on the overhead. Ventilation's your lifeline. 2 14 by 16 inch hatches, stainless hinges with UV-resistant screens, angled 15 degrees to scoop air even at anchor in a steamy lagoon. Wire and LED lights, 0.6 amps each, 12 volt, with a rheostat dimmer. So, you can read your dog-eared Patrick O'Brian novel or find your socks without torching the battery bank. Storage is the real MVP. Underberth drawers, 30 inches deep, 40 wide, with 75-pound spring latches to stay shut in a 40-knot blow, plus overhead nets, 3-inch elastic mesh to hold your Kindle, headlamp, and spare briefs. Add a fan, 12 volt, 4 amps, oscillating 200 degrees to cut through the tropics' muggy grip, and a thin merino wool blanket, 60 by 80 inches, for those chilly nights off Cape Horn. This isn't coddling, it's combat-ready rest. A sharp, rested sailor can dodge a squall or splice a line when it counts, and out there, it always counts. Now, let's hit number 9. Good storage and organization. A sailboat's chaos is a killer. Loose gear sliding across the deck, a spare shackle buried when you're bleeding hydraulic fluid in a storm. For a man over 60 who might not twist, like a pretzel or recall where he tossed that spare winch handle, a tidy boat isn't optional, it's a lifeline. Build your cabinets from 1-inch marine plywood, light, unyielding, coated in 2 layers of epoxy, and fasten them with 2.5-inch stainless steel screws, spaced 6 inches apart, countersunk for a flush fit. Shelves along the hull, 18 inches, deep 5 feet long, need fiddles, 3-inch high barriers to trap your gear when she's bucking at 35 degrees. Label every locker with waterproof vinyl tags, 1.5-inch bold letters, black on yellow, so your headlamp, spare fuses, or that emergency rum bottle is a heartbeat away. High-use stuff like your VHF handheld, a Leatherman, or a Tide chart goes in shallow cockpit lockers 15 inches deep with gas strut lids that pop open without a knee bend. Secure every hatch with latches, lever style, 100-pound rating, so a 50-knot gust doesn't turn your salon into a landfill. Waste's a beast too. Bolt-in 10-gallon composting bin under the galley counter vented with a 2-inch hose to the deck, sealed with a rubber gasket to choke odors. Hang a canvas organizer, 14 pockets, 24 inches long, near the companionway for small fry-like keys, a penknife, or a tied wheel stitched with UV thread for durability. Add bungee cords, 3 4-inch, 30 inches long, with stainless hooks, to strap down a rolled-up chart or a 5-gallon water jug. Toss in a magnetic strip, 12 inches, 20-pound hold, for knives, or a screwdriver above the sink. This setup means no fumbling in the dark, no tripping over junk, just a boat that works as hard as you do, keeping you steady when the world's tilting wild. Next up, number 8, high rails or handholds. Balance fades with the decades, and a slick deck pitching in 30 knots is a one-way ticket to a swim or a broken hip. For a sailor over 60, staying upright isn't luck, it's engineering. Upgrade your tow rails to 7 inches high, 316 grade stainless steel, 3 to 8 inch thick, bolted every 3 inches with 5 to 8 inch fasteners and 1 to 4 inch G10 backing plates for a grip that laughs at rust and rage. Run handrails along both walkways, 2.5 inch diameter tubing, seamless welds, 25 feet stem to stern, mounted 42 inches high so you can brace without hunching. Down the companionway, double down, 2 rails 30 inches apart, 20 inches long, bolted, with 5/16 inch stainless through 1.2 inch plywood backing, so you can haul up or down with zero give. Near the mast, add grab handles, 16 inch stainless bars, satin finish, screwed with 3 8-inch bolts every 4 inches, for reefing in a 35-knot screamer. Coat the deck with non-slip epoxy, 3 8-inch thick coarse silica grit mixed 2.1 for a bite that holds when waves crash over the bow. If your cockpit's a wide-open trap, rig safety netting, nylon 2.5-inch mesh, UV treated, stretched with 1.2-inch line, knotted every 10 inches to catch you or your gear before it's fish food. Add reflective tape, 3-inch silver strips along rails and handles, glowing under a headlamp at 0200. Clip points, D-rings, 750-pound rating, welded steel, go near the helm and mast base for a harness tether in a blow. Toss in a teak handhold, 12 pawls, inches, oiled, inside the companionway for that extra grip on wet nights. This turns your deck into a fortress. Move with guts, not guesswork, even when the sea's a snarling beast. Let's dive into number 7, bringing all control lines to the cockpit. For a man over 60, scampering across a pitching deck to tweak a sheet or reef, the main in a 40-knot gust isn't just tiring, it's a gamble with gravity. This mod keeps you planted at the helm, running the whole show from one spot. Lead every halyard and sheet aft through rope clutches, industrial grade, 4,000-pound rating, mounted on a 1-inch fiberglass coaming reinforced with 3 layers of 8-ounce cloth, epoxied both sides. Install roller furling for the head sail, 80-foot line, 5 or 8-inch Decron, routed through 5 Harkin blocks with 2-inch sheaves to a clutch 20 inches from the wheel, and in-mast furling for the main, with a 15-foot continuous loop line feeding a 3 8-inch cam cleat, tensioned to 200 pounds. Electric winches are your heavy lifters, 258 STs, pulling 22 amps at 12 volts, wired to a 600 amp-hour AGM bank with a 250 amp breaker and a 150 amp alternator upgrade for juice. Add a wireless remote, IP68 rated 100-foot range, to trigger the windlass or furling from your seat, with a spare AA battery pack stashed in a dry bag. Reinforce the cockpit sole, 3.4-inch fiberglass over 1.5-inch marine ply, glassed with 10-ounce biaxial cloth to handle the strain of 10 lines converging in a blow. Run conduits, 2-inch PVC bedded in epoxy under the deck with 1-inch exit ports to keep lines snag-free, and mark each with colored tape, green for jib, yellow for main, for split-second grabs. Add a line organizer, teak, 12 slots, 18 inches long, bolted near the companionway to sort the chaos. This setup means you're trimming, reefing, or stowing sails without stepping into the fray, safe behind the dodger, dry as a bone, commanding the boat while the storm screams past, leaving you untouchable and in charge. Now, number 6, self-tacking jibs. Tacking's a beast. Hauling sheets, dodging the boom, nailing the turn, and for a sailor over 60, it's a workout you don't need. A self-tacker swings itself across every helm shift, effortless as breathing. Mount a 10-foot track, curved 2-inch stainless rail, bolted through the deck with 3 4-inch studs every 6 inches, sealed with 3M 5200 and backed with 5 to 16-inch G10 plates for bomb-proof strength. Fit it with triple ball-bearing cars, 2,500-pound rating, for a glide that sings, and led the sheet through a double block to a cockpit clutch 12 feet aft, with a 1 or 2-inch turning block for smooth runs. Use 1 or 2-inch Dyneema, 8,000-pound braking, strength for sheets that stay taut in 30 knots without a hint of stretch. Install a furling jib, drum rated for a 160% Genoa, with a 90-foot control line snaking aft through 8 fairleads, secured with a 5/16-inch D-shackle. Size the jib to 100% of your fore-triangle, 24 feet luff, 20 feet foot, for balance in 15-35 knots, and set the track stops with 3 or 8-inch Allen bolts, adjustable to sheet flat in a gust. Add a UV strip, 10-inch Dacron, triple-stitched to the leech, and a telltale window, 8 inches square, near the head for wind cues. Reinforce the deck, 1 2-inch fiberglass pad, 12 inches wide, under the track, glassed with 6-ounce cloth. Toss in a sheet bag, canvas, 18 by 12 inches, near the clutch to keep the line coiled. When the wind veers, you turn the wheel, and the sail tracks itself. No grinding winches, no dancing on deck, just a clean, quiet shift that keeps you in the game, sailing smart while the boat does the heavy lifting. Let's roll into number 5. Electric winches for halyards and sheets. Hoisting a 400 square foot mainsail or sheeting a Genoa in 30 knots is a young man's brawl. For a sailor over 60, it's a strain you can sidestep. Electric winches turn muscle into a button push, keeping your shoulders intact. Go for a 60 ST for halyards and a 66 ST for sheets, each pulling 28 amps at 12 volts, spinning at 45 feet per minute under a 1,200-pound load with a 2-speed motor. For finesse, wire them to an 800 amp-hour lithium bank, 250 amp BMS, 60 pounds lighter than AGM, fed by a 500-watt solar array on the coach roof, paired with a 40 amp MPPT controller for max charge. Mount a control box, IP67 rated, with up, down toggles, a variable speed dial, and a red kill switch, 24 inches from the helm, run with 3 0-gauge cable over 20 feet for 0 voltage drop. Bolt the winches down, 7 8-inch stainless bolts, 12 for base, on 18-inch square backing plates, 3 to 4-inch thick marine ply, bedded in epoxy and torqued to 60 foot-pounds. Grease the gears, marine lithium, 2 ounces every 120 hours, using a grease gun with a flexible nozzle, and check terminals bi-weekly with a 40-millimeter wrench, spraying WD-40 Specialist on contacts to fend off salt. Add dual foot switches, 20 amps, wired in series, at each winch, sealed with rubber boots, and a manual override crank, 12 inches steel, stashed in a cockpit locker. Reinforce the deck, 1-inch fiberglass pad, 20 inches wide, under each winch glassed with 12-ounce biaxial cloth. This setup hauls sails like a titan, leaving your strength for plotting courses, not pulling ropes. Sail smart, not sore, while the boat bends to your will. Next, number 4. Lazy jacks, or in-mast furling. Dropping the main shouldn't be a bar fight. Sail thrashing, line snarling, boom swinging like a wrecking ball. For a man over 60, it's a chore to skip. Lazy jacks are the budget champ. Run. 5 8-inch Dacron lines, 30 feet long, from the spreaders to the boom, spaced 7 feet apart, catching the sail as it falls into a neat stack, tensioned with 5 16-inch cam cleats at the mast base, 10-inch tails for quick tweaks. For the high-end fix, in-mast furling, a mast with a 3.5-inch slot, rolling the sail on a 24-volt motor with a 20.1 gear ratio, cranked from the cockpit with an 8-foot line and a 15-amp breaker. Lazy jacks cost $900, installed with stainless steel fittings. In-mast furling runs $9,000 for a 46-footer, including a 14-ounce Dacron sail with full-length battens. Reinforce the mast step, 1 torn 2-inch aluminum plate, 14 inches square, bolted with 3 8-inch stainless, and lube the slot every 6 months with 3 ounces of Teflon spray, applied with a long nozzle can. Add a sail stop, 1-inch webbing, 12 inches long, to the lazy jack space for extra control, or a furling jam cleat, 1.2-inch, 500-pound rating for in-mast precision. Either way, the sail drops in 20 seconds. Clean, silent, no struggle, leaving you free to eyeball the horizon, not battle canvas, while the boat settles into calm like it's meant to. Let's tackle number 3, an electric windlass. Hauling 350 feet of 1 to 2-inch chain and a 65-pound anchor by hand is a gut-buster. For a man over 60, it's a one-way ticket to a chiropractor or worse. An electric windlass does the grunt work, keeping you upright and breathing. Get a Lumar V5, rated for 450 feet, pulling 130 amps at 12 volts, retrieving at 80 feet per minute with a 3.4 horsepower motor. Mount it on the bow, 16-inch base, 1-inch stainless bolts, 8 per side, over a locker reinforced with 1-inch fiberglass, glassed 4 layers deep with 10-ounce cloth. Run your zero-gauge cable, 70 feet, to a 300 amp-hour battery fused at 250 amps, stashed under the V-berth with a 2.5-inch vent tube to the deck. Add a cockpit remote, 120-foot range, with up-down and a variable speed toggle, and a Bowfoot switch, 25 amps, wired with 6-gauge leads in a waterproof conduit. Seal the base with 3M 4200, 1-8-inch bead, and grease the gypsy every 2 weeks. 3 ounces of lithium grease, applied with a brush for full coverage. Fit the locker with a 2-inch drain, brass check valve, and a chain stopper, 1-2-inch stainless, 2,000-pound rating, to lock the road mid-haul. Add a washdown pump, 12-volt, 4 GPM, to blast mud off the chain, plumbed with 3 4-inch hose from a 10-gallon tank. This beast lifts your anchor with a hum. No heaving, no hernias, just raw power pulling you free, leaving you ready to sail, not sweat, when the horizon calls. Now number 2, boarding ladder or steps. Getting aboard from a dinghy, dock, or the water gets dicey over 60. A slip's a dunk or a busted knee. A solid ladder keeps you steady. Build a transom unit, 316 stainless, 7 steps, 18 inches wide, 12 inches deep, folding with a 3/8-inch pin, locked with a spring-loaded latch, 100-pound rating. Weld handrails, 2.5-inch tubing 50 inches high, angled 20 degrees for reach, braced with 5 16-inch gussets, polished to a satin sheen. For side access, bolt a platform 30 by 40 inches with a 5-step ladder dipping 36 inches below the waterline, secured with 3 4-inch bolts and 1 2-inch G10 plates, torqued to 50 foot-pounds. Add non-slip tape, 4-inch heavy grit, to each step, and coat bolts with lantern coat, 1.4-inch bead, to fend off corrosion. Mount a grab bar, 18-inch stainless, 2-inch diameter, above the platform, bolted with 3 8-inch fasteners, backed with 1 to 4-inch ply. Reinforce the transom, 1.2-inch fiberglass 24 inches square for ladder loads, glassed with 8-ounce cloth. Add a folding step, 12 by 8 inches at the top for a smoother transition. This setup hauls you aboard dry and safe. No flailing, no falls, just a solid climb every time you step up. Finally, number 1, the Autopilot system. Long passages mean endless helm hours. Over 60, you can't steer 24/7 without crumbling, and Autopilot's your rock. Get a Raymarine EV400, hydraulic ram, 30,000-pound rating, or a linear drive synced to an Axiom 9 plotter, NMEA 2000 backbone. Mount the head, color screen, 30-degree jog keys, in the cockpit, wired to a 600 amp-hour bank pulling 9 amps, backed by 600-watt solar and a 50-amp controller. Bolt the ram, 1-inch stainless, to the quadrant, reinforced with a 1-inch fiberglass. Pad glassed 5 layers with 12-ounce biaxial. Add a wind vane, masthead 50-foot cable for wind-based steering, and calibrate with a 20-mile run, setting gains to 0.7 for tight response. Install a rudder sensor, 1-degree accuracy for precision, wired with 18-gauge shielded cable. Reinforce the helm pedestal, 1-4-inch stainless plate for the control head, and add a remote 100-foot range for deck use. This holds course through gales or glass. Rest, eat, or just breathe while it steers, the king of mods for a world cruise. And there you have it. 10 essential modifications that can make all the difference when sailing around the world after 60. These upgrades aren't just about convenience. They're about safety, efficiency, and enjoying the journey to the fullest. Which of these modifications do you already have on your boat? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss more expert sailing tips. See you in the next adventure. Fair winds and safe travels.